peaceful night, sound sleep until morning. Let's agree, this is one of life's simple joys, one we especially appreciate as the years go by. But how often is this ideal shattered by the body's insistent signal, forcing us to leave our warm beds in the middle of the night? If these nighttime awakenings have become routine for you, know this: you're not alone, and often the cause lies in a seemingly harmless habit, a glass of water before bed. Why does this happen? It's simple. With age, our kidneys don't filter fluid as quickly as they used to, and the bladder, like a trusty but perhaps slightly worn-out travel bag, can't always hold the same volume. Plus, the hormones that are supposed to calm the bladder at night might be produced less actively. And there's the result: frequent trips to the toilet, interrupting precious rest. The main provocateur often is precisely that water or other liquid consumed shortly before you turn off the lights. Imagine setting off on a long night journey in a car with a small gas tank and filling it to the brim right before starting. Frequent stops are guaranteed. But don't despair. Today, together, we'll figure out how, with simple and accessible steps, to reclaim peaceful nights and wake up feeling refreshed and full of energy. I'm confident that by applying these straightforward tips, you'll notice a significant improvement: more energy during the day, a better mood, and most importantly, you'll forget about those nighttime routes to the bathroom. I promise, it's much simpler than it seems. So stay with me, and let's unlock the secrets to serene sleep in our golden years together. Stay with me until the end, because some of these lessons might surprise you. Let's start with the most obvious, yet most crucial step. Let's try to break the habit of drinking a large amount of liquid, especially water, right before going to sleep. I understand, for many, this is an evening ritual developed over years, and giving it up can be difficult. Let me tell you Arthur's story. He's 72. All his adult life, Arthur drank a large glass of cool water before bed. He sincerely believed it helped him cleanse his system and promoted good sleep. However, for the past few years, his nights turned into a series of awakenings. He had to get up 3, sometimes even 4 times a night. In the morning, he felt completely worn out, like a train car after a long, bumpy ride on a bad track. When I gently suggested he try eliminating that evening glass of water, Arthur was initially a bit offended. "What nonsense," he retorted. "Water is life. I've done this my whole life, and everything was fine." He feared that without his usual glass of water, he'd suffer from thirst, that it would only make things worse. The habit was so ingrained, it seemed an inseparable part of his life. But constant fatigue and lack of sleep eventually took their toll, and Arthur, albeit with great doubt, decided to give it a try. The first couple of evenings felt genuinely strange. His hand kept reaching for the water carafe, his mouth felt slightly dry, and a sense of unease crept in. But he persisted. Imagine his surprise when, on just the 3rd night, he woke up only once. And after a week, the nighttime treks had almost completely stopped. Arthur was simply amazed and very encouraged. He later shared with me, "It's like I've become 10 years younger. I wake up refreshed, my head is clear, like in my youth. I have so much energy during the day that I even returned to my old hobby, model railroading, which I had completely abandoned due to constant drowsiness." So, what's the magic here? In reality, there's no magic. By simply removing that final large intake of water before sleep, Arthur allowed his kidneys and bladder a chance to rest. Physiologically, urine production decreases at night, but if we flood the system right before bed, we deprive it of this natural break. It's like trying to fall asleep to loud music. The body simply can't relax. By eliminating this nighttime irritant, Arthur allowed his body to sink into deep, restorative sleep. What's the practical benefit for you? First and foremost, calm, uninterrupted sleep. This, in turn, means feeling alert and cheerful in the mornings, reducing the risk of nighttime falls. Wandering around half asleep isn't safe, and improving memory and concentration during the day. Give this step a try. Perhaps giving up that glass of water before bed will be your key to proper rest. But wait, you're probably thinking, doctors constantly say we need to drink enough water, especially at our age. What should we do? And you are absolutely right. Maintaining hydration is crucial. Dehydration is a sneaky enemy. But the secret isn't about drinking less, but about drinking smartly and at the right time. And this brings us to the next important point. Try to drink the majority of your daily fluid intake in the first half of the day and during the afternoon, gradually reducing the amount you drink as evening approaches. Meet Eleonora. She's 68. Eleonora is a very responsible lady, always meticulous about her health, and practically inseparable from her water bottle. She was terrified of dehydration, and therefore drank small amounts constantly throughout the day, including the evening, almost right up until bedtime. And of course, nighttime awakenings were her constant companions. She often complained, "I feel like a guard on duty all night, always alert, not resting." When she heard the advice to shift her main fluid intake to the morning and daytime, she was initially worried. What if my body doesn't get enough water in the evening? Won't I harm myself? It seemed to her that only constant, even drinking throughout the entire day, guaranteed health. We decided to approach this systematically. She began consciously drinking more water starting in the morning, a glass upon waking, then several more glasses before lunch and throughout the day. But after 6 or 7 in the evening, she tried not to drink large amounts, allowing herself only a few small sips if she felt genuinely thirsty. At first, tracking the time and volume felt unusual, but she got a beautiful glass pitcher, filled it in the morning, and placed it prominently with the goal of finishing its contents by midday. And what was the result? Eleonora discovered, much to her surprise, that she practically stopped feeling thirsty in the evening. Her body, having received sufficient hydration during its active hours, no longer signaled a shortage at night. And most importantly, she started sleeping through the entire night without waking up. "It's simply a miracle," she laughed during our next meeting. "I'm sleeping better than ever. And somehow, I have so much energy and desire to do things that I finally signed up for the watercolor painting classes I've been dreaming about for so long." From a physiological standpoint, it's logical. When you provide your body with enough fluid during the first half of the day, it has time to absorb it, use it for all its needs, and eliminate the excess before you go to sleep. It's like wise budget planning. You handle major expenses during the day when needed, leaving only a small reserve for the night without overloading the system. What's the benefit for you? You maintain optimal hydration, avoiding dehydration, while eliminating the need to get up at night. This improves the function of all body systems during the day, boosts your energy levels, and grants you precious hours of uninterrupted nighttime rest. Try shifting your fluid consumption focus to the morning and daytime hours. Your body will surely thank you. If you're still watching this video and finding the information useful, write the number 2 in the comments or something nice if what I'm talking about is helpful to you, so I know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. Subscribe and click the bell icon so you don't miss any new videos. All right, let's move on. We've talked about plain water, but for many, evening is the time for a warm, aromatic, cozy cup of something. Most often, it's tea, sometimes even coffee. What's the big deal? You might object. I drink weak tea. It actually calms and warms me. However, a hidden trap might lurk here too. The fact is that both black and green tea, as well as coffee, even when weak, contain caffeine. And caffeine has 2 effects undesirable for nighttime rest. It stimulates kidney function, meaning it's a diuretic, and it excites the nervous system, hindering peaceful falling asleep and deep sleep, even if you think you're completely used to it and it doesn't affect you. Let me tell you about David. He's 75. David was a great connoisseur of his evening ritual. Every evening after dinner, he brewed himself a cup of strong black tea with milk and sugar and sat down with it to read the newspaper. He was absolutely convinced this ritual helped him relax after the day. But his sleep was very restless. He often woke up in the middle of the night for no apparent reason and then struggled to fall back asleep. He blamed everything else: age, weather changes, magnetic storms, but never his beloved evening tea. "I've been drinking this tea since childhood," he'd say. "It's like family to me." The very thought that his familiar cup of tea could be the cause of his sleep problems seemed utterly absurd to him. With great skepticism, and only out of respect for our conversation, David agreed to a small experiment. Replace his traditional evening black tea with a cup of herbal infusion, chamomile or mint, which are guaranteed caffeine-free. The first few evenings felt very strange. He missed the familiar astringent taste. The herbal tea seemed somewhat bland and not serious. But he decided to stick with it for at least a week for a clean experiment. And after just a few days, he surprisingly started noticing a difference. Falling asleep became somewhat easier, and nighttime awakenings, although not completely gone, became noticeably less frequent and shorter. After 2 weeks, he admitted himself, "You know, there really is something to this. I seem to be sleeping deeper somehow, and my head feels fresher in the morning. I've even started to like the taste of chamomile tea. It really does have a calming effect, sets the mood for rest." The secret is simple. Caffeine, even in the amounts found in tea, can disrupt sleep architecture, making it lighter, and stimulate kidney function precisely when they should be resting. It's like trying to lull a child to sleep by giving them a chocolate candy with an energizing filling right before bed. The effect will be the opposite. By replacing the caffeinated beverage with a soothing herbal infusion, chamomile, mint, lemon balm, linden flowers, the choices are many. David eliminated 2 negative factors at once: unnecessary kidney stimulation and unwanted nervous system arousal before sleep. What's the benefit for you? Falling asleep faster and more easily, deeper and calmer sleep without extra awakenings, and a general feeling of relaxation in the evening. Try replacing your usual evening tea or coffee with a cup of aromatic herbal tea for at least a week. Perhaps this is the missing element that will help you regulate your nighttime rest. Besides beverages, it's important to remember the water hidden in our food. We don't just drink from cups, but also from plates. And this too can contribute to nighttime awakenings, especially if you have a habit of snacking on something juicy and light before bed. Fruits, especially watermelon, melon, citrus, vegetables, cucumbers, tomatoes, celery, light soups, kefir, or yogurt. These are all wonderful and healthy foods. But when you consume them matters greatly. Let's recall Margaret. She's 70. She was always a big proponent of healthy eating and believed the ideal dinner was a light vegetable salad, or, for example, in summer, a few slices of juicy watermelon. Sometimes, if she felt hungry before bed, she might have a small bowl of pureed vegetable soup. "It's so healthy," she'd say convincingly, "pure vitamins and fiber," and she was right about the benefits. But Margaret also suffered from frequent nighttime visits to the bathroom. It never occurred to her to connect her nighttime inconveniences with her healthy evening meal. She was absolutely sure she was doing everything right for her health. When we discussed the possible influence of hidden water in her evening menu, Margaret was genuinely surprised. Can a simple cucumber or tomato really affect night sleep so much? Yes, believe it or not, they can. After all, watermelon or cucumber consists of over 90% water. By eating them shortly before sleep, you are essentially drinking an extra glass of liquid without even noticing. Margaret decided to try moving her favorite juicy foods to an earlier time. For instance, to an afternoon snack or an early dinner, about 3 to 4 hours before her intended bedtime. And if she still felt very hungry in the evening, she started choosing something drier and less bulky: a handful of almonds, a small slice of hard cheese, 1 whole grain cracker. The result wasn't long in coming. The number of nighttime awakenings decreased by almost half. "I feel so much better," she shared after a couple of weeks. "I still eat all my favorite fruits and vegetables. They're important to me, but I just do it earlier in the day." Turns out, the whole trick is in the timing. The physiology is simple. Water-rich food adds a significant volume of liquid to your body, which the kidneys and bladder will have to process and eliminate during the night hours. It's like trying to seat a few more passengers on an already full bus right before the final stop. It will be crowded and uncomfortable. What's the benefit for you? You can continue to eat deliciously and healthily, including plenty of fruits and vegetables in your diet, while ensuring a more peaceful night's sleep simply by shifting the consumption of watery foods to the daytime. And if you do feel like snacking before bed, opt for something less juicy. This will help your body rest fully at night. And one more delicate but very important point that can directly influence the frequency of nighttime bathroom trips relates to taking certain medications. We're primarily talking about diuretic drugs, which doctors often prescribe for high blood pressure, heart failure, or edema. By their very nature, these medications increase the excretion of fluid from the body. And if it so happens that you take such medication in the evening or right before bed, frequent nighttime awakenings, unfortunately, become almost inevitable. And here I want to make a very important warning. Please, under no circumstances should you independently change the timing or dosage of medications prescribed to you. Any adjustments to your treatment plan can only be made after consultation with and under the direct guidance of your attending physician. However, Being aware of this possible cause of sleep disturbance and discussing it with your doctor is definitely worthwhile. Listen to George's story. He's 78. George had been taking a diuretic for many years to control his blood pressure. It just so happened that it was convenient for him to take this pill in the evening after dinner. It simply became part of his daily routine. But his nights turned into a real ordeal. He woke up to go to the toilet 4, sometimes even 5 times. He had long resigned himself to this, blaming it all on age and the illness itself. "What can you do? Old age isn't a joy," he often sighed. It never even occurred to him that the timing of taking a single pill could have such a colossal impact on the quality of his sleep. During a routine checkup with his GP, he casually complained about terrible sleep and constant nighttime awakenings. The doctor listened attentively, looked at the list of medications he was taking, and asked a clarifying question. "And tell me, George, exactly what time do you take your diuretic?" Upon hearing the patient took it in the evening, the doctor suggested trying to move the pill intake to the morning hours after breakfast. I emphasize again, this was a decision made jointly with the doctor after assessing the situation. George followed the recommendation and started taking his medication in the morning. The effect exceeded all his expectations. Literally, within a few days, the number of nighttime awakenings sharply decreased, first to once a night, and soon he joyfully discovered that he sometimes slept through the entire night without waking up. "It's like I've been born again," George exclaimed enthusiastically. "I had already forgotten what it's like to sleep through the night without interruption. Now, I feel like an energetic person during the day too, not like a squeezed lemon as before." Why did this work so effectively? Diuretics typically cause their peak effect, i.e., maximum fluid excretion, a few hours after intake. By taking the medication in the morning, George shifted this peak to the daytime, active hours, when frequent bathroom trips are less critical. By nighttime, the drug's effect naturally weakened, allowing the bladder and the entire body to rest fully. This can be compared to planning a large load of laundry. It's more sensible to start it in the morning or afternoon, so the noise of the running machine doesn't disturb sleep at night. What's the practical benefit for you? If you take diuretics or other medications that could potentially affect urination frequency, this is usually indicated in the instructions, and you suffer from nighttime awakenings, be sure to raise this issue at your next doctor's appointment. Discuss the possibility of adjusting the medication timing with them. This simple change, agreed upon with a specialist, can dramatically improve the quality of your sleep and consequently the quality of your entire life. But remember the golden rule: no self-experiments with medications, only in consultation with your doctor. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon so you don't miss new videos. Your support helps us continue creating useful and inspiring content for you. And now, let's continue. Finally, let's talk about the power of habit. Sometimes our desire to drink water before bed isn't so much about real physiological thirst as it is a psychological anchor, an ingrained ritual that signals to our brain, okay, the day is over, time for sleep. And if we simply remove this familiar element, the glass of water on the nightstand, an unpleasant feeling of emptiness, of an unfinished evening routine, can arise, which in itself can hinder relaxation and falling asleep. Therefore, our final piece of advice for today is, if you feel you're missing the ritual itself, replace the habit of drinking at night with another beneficial and calming evening ritual. Let's remember Susan. She's 66. For her, the glass of water standing on her bedside table was an integral part of the process of going to sleep. She didn't always drink it all, often taking just a couple of symbolic sips, but the very fact of its presence and this last action before turning off the light gave her a sense of rightness, order, completion of the day. When she decided to follow the advice and stop drinking right before bed to sleep better, she felt somewhat uncomfortable and lost. "It's such a strange feeling, like I forgot to do something important," she admitted. "I really missed that final touch before closing my eyes." We sat down together and brainstormed what could replace this habit to preserve the sense of ritual without harming sleep. Susan decided to try creating a new, mindful sequence of calming actions before bed. About an hour before getting into bed, she started doing some very light, pleasant stretches for her back and neck. Then she took a warm, not hot, bath with a few drops of lavender essential oil or pine extract. After the bath, wearing cozy pajamas, she sat in her favorite armchair with a cup of warm herbal tea, which she drank slowly about an hour before sleep, and opened a book, a physical book, not a tablet or phone, whose light can interfere with sleep hormone production. She read for 15 to 20 minutes under the soft, warm light of a floor lamp or nightlight. Sometimes, instead of reading, she just put on quiet, calm instrumental music or nature sounds. If her mouth still felt dry, she took literally 1 or 2 small sips of room temperature water from a small cup, but not from a large glass, and did so well in advance. What happened as a result? Susan discovered to her surprise that her new evening ritual not only successfully replaced the old habit with the glass of water, but also turned out to be much more effective for relaxation and preparing for sleep. She started falling asleep faster, tossed and turned less, and her sleep itself became noticeably deeper and calmer. "I actually look forward to the evening with a special kind of pleasure now," she says. "It has become my personal time for myself, for quiet and tranquility. And I completely stopped feeling the need for that glass of water by the bed. It just became unnecessary." Physiologically, creating a predictable, relaxing evening ritual helps lower stress hormone levels in the blood, smoothly shifts our brain from daytime activity mode to rest mode, and promotes the natural production of melatonin, our primary sleep conductor. It's similar to how we instinctively create a cozy nest before settling down to sleep, ensuring it's soft, warm, dark, and quiet. What's the practical benefit for you? You not only get rid of the potentially sleep-disrupting habit of drinking at night, but also acquire a new, beneficial one that actively contributes to improving your sleep quality, helps relieve accumulated daily stress, reduces anxiety, and gives you a few pleasant, peaceful moments before your night's rest. Think about what calm and pleasant ritual might suit you specifically. Maybe it's reading a good book, listening to favorite calm music, light meditation or breathing exercises, a warm foot bath, keeping a gratitude journal. Create your own little bedtime ceremony that will bring you joy and set the stage for serene rest. You see, my dear friends, how sometimes small but conscious changes in our daily habits can lead to such significant and pleasant improvements in our well-being and quality of life. Today, we've thoroughly examined why that seemingly harmless glass of water at night after age 65 might not be your sleep's best friend, but rather its disruptor. And we discussed several simple yet effective steps to fix this. Drink enough, but do it well in advance, shifting the main fluid volume to the first half of the day. Be more mindful of evening tea, coffee, and juicy foods. Don't forget the possible influence of medications and discuss it with your doctor. And finally, create new, pleasant, and calming evening rituals for yourself instead of old habits. Please remember, your age is not a sentence nor a reason to put up with discomfort. It's an age of wisdom, rich life experience, and deserved respect. You've come such a long way, and you absolutely deserve to feel good, energetic, well-rested, and enjoy every new day and every peaceful night. Don't be afraid to try something new. Listen to your body's signals. It's our most faithful advisor. The steps we talked about don't require any superhuman effort or large financial investments, but they can give you one of the most valuable treasures: deep, restorative sleep and the energy needed for a full, joyful life. Take this small step towards your comfort, your health, your well-being. You will definitely succeed. I sincerely believe in you.